Good morning, everyone. So yesterday, after my husband got home from work, I was able to go get the Walkaway dress printed. So I'm going to make a video of getting the Walkaway dress out of this, of what I printed. I don't think I printed it quite right, but I think we can figure it out without too much hassle. So I'm going to show what I have printed out, and we're going to try to get that pattern. So this is what we have printed out. We have instructions, we have like a diagram of what the pieces should look like. The only thing that printed out correctly, like these are way too small, but it is on an inch grid paper. So it should be pretty easy to draft this out based on these images. And then we have this piece. I think this printed out okay. So I'm going to cut these out and tape them together how they need to go. For the skirt, it is very clearly a circle skirt, so that's going to be easy just to make on my own. I honestly don't really use a pattern for a circle skirt. I can just cut it out directly out from the fabric with measurements. So that's going to be really easy. We at least know the basic shape of these, and I just need to make it to where it'll fit my body. So the first thing I'm going to do though is cut these out and tape them together where they need to go. Okay, so these pattern pieces didn't quite line up. I feel like this one is smaller than this one, but we are smart, capable women and we will figure this out. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna cut that off and it's gonna be smooth and line up and it'll be just fine. Ta-da! Problem solved. Okay, this piece, where does this go? It says front. Is this the piece? Does this wrap around in the front? Is this piece? Okay, if this is the back, so this would be the back. That doesn't look right. I'm a little confused because I've never made this pattern before. Okay, so let's look at a diagram. Okay, so the front of the dress is all one piece, right? And so the back, so this is the back. Is this the finished piece? I'm trying to figure out what this is. What is that piece? This is front. What? I mean, this piece does look like this one. And that goes around the back and then wraps in the front. So the part of this should be what comes around in the front. Is this wrong? We're going to pretend that this piece doesn't exist. So from my understanding, we're going to have to alter this back piece to make sure it goes in the back and then it wraps all the way around to the front and meets in the center front, and then we'll probably use buttons to fasten it. So I'm going to need to upsize this to do that. And then also attached to this piece will be that circle skirt. Now for this front piece, honestly, it looks a lot like another pattern that I do have and have used quite a bit. So I'm going to actually, actually these darts, they do look different. Oh, but you know what it is? This is like the front of the dress, and then included in the pattern is the back that goes around. That's why it looks a little different. And then it goes down behind the back. I want to know how you're supposed to close it in the back. like for the front piece that wraps around. How do you get it to stay back there? Questions. Yeah, so the front piece, you're supposed to use a little piece of elastic and then something over here to connect it in the back to hold it to your body. Okay. Okay. I found it. I dug through my patterns. You guys should have seen this a couple times by now. I used this for my Marilyn Monroe potato sack dress, and I used it as the basis for that shiny kind of Morticia Adams black shiny mermaid type dress. So what we are going to do is we're going to kind of use this as the base and for the measurements, because I know this fits me, but then we're going to have to take, because this is a front and the back, this is supposed to be like a front piece and then also an additional side piece, and then it'll hook in the back with a piece of elastic. So I'm going to copy this pattern, and then we're also going to have to bring it back further. And I'm going to probably have to move this second dart here to make it look like it lines up more with this pattern. And we're going to try to copy that shape, but using this as the basis. I knew I had traced this pattern out before, so I dug into my patterns again and found it. So this is the tracing of the front that I have. This is the only paper I have right now, and it's like nearly out. This is all of the paper I have for making a pattern piece. So I think I really only need to make the front and adjust it at the top. So I can lay this on here. We'll at least trace, we'll lose a couple inches at the bottom, but that's easy to just cut it longer. So I'm going to trace this on what paper I have, and then from here, I'm going to try to make it more like the other shape. Okay, I'm sorry if this is upside down, but the first thing I am going to do is change the neckline from being square from the claw-tailed pattern and make it round, because the Walkaway dress has a round neckline. So we're trying to make the Walkaway dress pattern. So I'm just going to, and I know this claw-tailed pattern fits me, so we should essentially get a size that fits me by basing it around this. So rounded neckline, there we go. So we got the rounded neckline, and then we do have the armhole. So we're going to trace this, and then we're going to deviate from the pattern a bit now. Okay, what do we need to do now? This pattern, it needs to be brought out. So, okay. So on here we can see where that side dart is. So we need to go down from the side dart to make that other dart. And so we're gonna take out the second dart nearing the side on the claw-tailed pattern, and that's gonna be going over here to make this dart. So based on this diagram, I think we've got something super close, if not possibly perfect, because I do know I based this off of a pattern that does fit me. I traced like the side back area as well of the back of the cloud-tail dress, of that side area. So I guessed about how much it would come around my side from that. And that's what we have. The final lines of the pattern I outlined in purple so that I wouldn't confuse myself with the blue. So the blue was like my base guessing, and then the purple is what I'm going to stick with. That dotted line there should be the waistline, and using where it takes it in at the most, at where the darts are, I base that on where the waistline would be, and on this, that would be here, and then I drop down the part in the back to try to get it close to this, because it looks like where it goes down it ends a little bit above the waistline. Mine might still be too high. I wonder if I should take it in a little deep. I should probably take it in a little deeper, actually. So I might actually do that real quick. Where's my purple marker? Based on the outline, I feel like this area should just go a little deeper. I think that looks about right. So this will be our final line. So now I am going to cut this out, and we will have at least the front of the pattern done. Alright, so we have the front piece. So it's always good to keep in mind that you might not have the exact pattern that you want to make, but there could be something maybe that you have that's close enough that if you know it fits you, you could base it off of that pattern and like add and take away in areas to try to make it look more like what you want. So you don't always have to have the pattern of what you want to make. I have collected probably more, well, I still think I could use more patterns, but I'm always searching eBay and Etsy trying to find good prices on vintage patterns of something that I don't have. But anyways, you might have something that can get you close to where you want to be, and you can maybe base it off of that, like what I just did. So I used a claw-tailed pattern that's for like a really fitted kind of wiggle dress, and I kind of chiseled it out and added to make it look more like the walkaway dress. And I've seen quite a few, you know, like close-fitting dresses like this from, I mean, anywhere from the 1940s to 1970s, I want to say, that you could find something in there that would be very similar, of a close-fitted dress that you can maybe add on to make it go a wrap around the back to make that walkaway dress front bodice piece. So on our list, we have this pattern piece checked. I don't have to make a pattern for a circle skirt. When I make circle skirts, I usually just cut them directly out of the fabric based on measurements. That's super easy. There's so many tutorials on making a circle skirt. If you want me to make one later, let me know, but it's one of the simplest skirts to make, I think. It's pretty easy. You just fold over the fabric twice. You cut at the corner where it like all meets to cut out the diameter for your waist, plus a little bit extra for folding in the back edge, but it's super easy. And now all we have to work on, so we're basically going to check that off. We know how to do that, or at least I do. So now we're just going to work on this back piece. I need to make sure it's big enough. So this goes to my center back, and it needs to be able to wrap around all the way to meet at the center in the front. So that's what we need to focus on. And another thing to be aware of is there is a dart in the back of this bodice piece. So I need to also take the dart into account when I do that measurement around my back. So I'm going to show you how I'm measuring myself, and we need to minus this from that measurement when I do that, because we need it to be able to meet around the front. Alright, so I have a trusty measuring tape. So for the center back, I need to figure out where my center back is. Should be here, and then it's gonna wrap around into the front, and I need to measure for that center front area. So the pattern piece needs to be at least, I think that should work. So from my center back all the way around to the center front, I have 19.5 inches right now. So I need to make sure when there is a dart that goes in, it's gonna reach 19 inches still. Okay, so be aware this pattern piece is for a 32-inch bust. I am a 38 to 40-inch bust, so that's like 6 additional inches that we need in the pattern, basically. So this is what goes to the back and wraps around the front. So this needed, if I'm calculating this correctly, I would need to make sure this reaches to 19 and a half, and we want it to be on kind of a curve, so it's off of the table, but okay, you might be able to see better now. So I am going to this is the rest of the paper that I have to make this pattern as well. That's another reason why we're not going to drop out the circle skirt, plus it's something that I can figure out on my own. So this has a slight curve to it because it wraps around the body, so I want it to be like 19.5 inches, and actually I'm going to make it go to 20 because of this dart. That's going to take about a half an inch out. So let's go to 20 inches, and that's about where my pattern needs to be. Is this right? I hope I'm doing this right. So we're gonna take this pattern finish. Okay, let me see. Okay, so from here to here is 20 inches. Okay. If this pattern piece is looking off to you, I don't know. This is what it seems like it should be. And then we're gonna do the shoulder area. And I guess we just Is that right? Does that look weird? Well, I'm gonna cut it out and we'll see what the paper looks like on me to see. Okay, so let's see if this back piece looks anything like what we think. So hold it up here to my center back. It wraps around and meets at the front. I mean, that looks right? Do I need to add more at the shoulder? I wish my husband was home because then he could hold it up in the back for me. Honestly, that looks right? I might need to add more at the shoulder to come up. That's not difficult though. But this weird piece looks like it should be what would fit me. I added a piece at the shoulder, so that's how I did it before. So I held it to my back, wrapped it around. That seems right. I added a bit more. I can't reach it. Hold on. Maybe if I. There we go. And then. I feel like this seems right. I can't see back there, but does it look right? I think we're going in the right direction, I think, maybe. So this is what that back piece looks like, and then I have to make a circle skirt that'll end up matching, wrapping all the way around to the front. Okay, so these very odd looking pattern pieces are what's going to be the walkaway dress, minus of course the circle skirt that I'm not even going to really make a pattern for. Now in this video, should I make a mock-up just to see if it'll fit? I do have a purple sheet that I could use, so maybe we'll make a mock-up real quick. Okay, so here is the dress. All right, let's see if we can get it in the right position. This is supposed to wrap around. And then we'll put elastic and like a button or something to hold it in place. I think this looks fairly good. And then this part is supposed to wrap around. Let's see. This fabric is very thin. Well, it's a sheet. Okay, so like this. And this is wrapped around the back. All right, I think, you know what, that actually, it's pretty close. I maybe, let's see. I mean, I don't have anything to hold the tension here. I think that's pretty good. This should be up like that. Okay. Yeah, that looks really good, right? And then it'll have the circle skirt around it. I think we've got our pattern. I think I should be able to make the dress now. It's okay that it's like overlapping here. You know, maybe I'll actually have it buttoned where it overlaps. I feel like this is pretty good. I think we have our pattern. Woo! Now, I can, are there needles in this? Oh. Oh! I forgot one of the darts. I was trying this on, and one of the darts is pinned, and I didn't sew this one yet. But that's fine. It had the excess out of it. It showed us what the fit was like. I honestly don't really need to finish this. I could keep this to use as a pattern maybe. But I think we've got our really strange looking dress pattern. This is the walkaway dress. All right, hopefully my attempt at making this pattern of what I think will work for me helps you. I don't know. I look ridiculous. Okay, bye.